Well, a good day to you. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you. I am Jerry Usher along with Debbie Georgiani. We're going to talk today about the places where we grew up. So be thinking about that. Did you grow up in an awesome place? Could you maybe not wait to get out of the area where you grew up? That is what our topic will be. We'll introduce that and flesh that out a little bit more in a couple of minutes. But I want to bring in the birthday girl, Debbie Georgiani. Happy birthday.
Thank you so very, very much. And Jerry, if you would please wave for me to our wonderful social media group that follows Take Two. I would be on video today. I'm feeling great. My heart is bursting with love and gratitude for everyone, but I cannot stop the tears. You guys are overwhelming me with great love and birthday wishes, and I'm just a mess. I can't hold it together. So I just want to say thank you to the Take Two family. You guys have the most generous and beautiful hearts, and I just wish all the blessings in the world for all of you. And I can say that on behalf of for Jerry too, because a lot of times you've sent in messages, birthday wishes, but you included Jerry as well, which was so beautiful. So we just love you very, very much, the Take Two family.
We sure do, and we want to hear about the area where you grew up today. In my case, I say I spent several years getting older in a certain part of the country. I'm not sure I have ever grown up yet, but I'm sure you, the Take Two family, you've grown up. You're mature adults by now. But we're talking about, did you have a wonderful place where you grew up? Was it great? Was it okay? Was it so-so? Maybe you still live there. Maybe you decided to stay in the little area where you went to school as a kid and grew up, and maybe you got married and had a family and started a career. We want to hear about the places where you grew up today, what's awesome about them, and maybe not so awesome about them. Right, Deb?
Yeah, that's true. Well, it is my birthday today, and so it does get you to think about your life and where you grew up and your childhood friends and all sorts of things. And so I just wanted to put out there to everybody from New Jersey, you guys are awesome. I spent 18 years in the great state of New Jersey. Still have so many of the friends that I grew up with, and it's incredible. I can't even, I'm so grateful for my childhood years. It was exciting. It was fun being close to New York City. And the people are just warm and loving and kind. And I actually shared that with Kristen. You know Kristen very well, Jerry. And I grew up with Kristen since we were toddlers, since we were really little in New Jersey, in West Caldwell, New Jersey. And Kristen and I were talking about that this morning. And it's incredible. We were blessed. And so I just want to do a big shout out to everybody in the great state of New Jersey. You guys are pretty awesome. I would come back there, but the taxes are too high.
And the weather's too nice in Phoenix. Let's be totally on. How about transparency here, Debbie?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
But it's so funny, though, because you were born and raised in the Pacific Northwest. So let's talk about that, because we're the opposite ends of the country, the way we grew up, which is very interesting.
Well, let's get that phone number out there, because I know the Take Two family, you have your phone in hand. You're like, give the number. Okay, it's 833-288 EWTN, 833-288-3986. Tell us about the area where you grew up. If you loved it, maybe you're still there. Maybe you couldn't wait to get out. I was kind of in a hurry to get out. I'll mention that in here in just a moment. But we're just talking about, different parts of the country. Maybe it was a large city, a metropolitan area for you. Maybe like me, it was. I grew up in a town of about 500 people, and it was good. It was good. 833-288-3986. Come on, you guys. You got to get those phone lines going here. Make this another great program. But you are right, Deb. I grew up on the Washington coast, clear across the country from you, right on the beach. I could see the ocean from my house. A town of about 500 people. Everybody knew everybody. So, of course, you don't talk about anyone because it's going to get back to them and then back to you. But, it was great. It was obviously a different time, a much more innocent time. We've done shows on that, how when most of us were growing up, things weren't as crazy and dangerous in the world as they are now. But I was actually kind of in a hurry to get out of there because I wanted a career in radio. So I went to broadcasting school down in Oregon and Portland, and then moved around, and here I am today. So, but it was a good upbringing. It was Copalis Beach, Washington. Copalis Beach, Washington, if anybody knows where that is.
Very cool. So today's show, the topic is great places to grow up. So you can brag about your childhood towns that you were raised in and the areas of the country or the world, please call in 833-288-3986. That's the number to call. You'll speak to Matt Kabinski. He's waiting to answer your phone call. Real easy to do. And Matt will chat with you for a few minutes. He'll put you on hold. You'll get to listen live. Ace McKay is at the controls. He's our incredible producer. He actually sang happy birthday to me as we started the show. So thank you, Ace. Michael McCall is on social media. Jerry's waving to you guys, and put the great places of this country, this world where you remember when you were small. And I think that's really important. Jerry, real quickly, so you grew up on the West Coast. I grew up on the East Coast, and we had the great state of New York City, the city, about 20 minutes from where I lived. So can you imagine, as you were growing up, you were super excited as you got older and older to go into the city? I mean, it was a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I remember that well because when I was going to my tiny little high school of less than 150 students in the top 4 grades, we had a high school exchange with a high school on Long Island, New York, John Glenn High School, and they had about 2,000 students. So we actually we got the big eyes, because when we took the exchange trip to New York to Long Island, we did get to go into the city and Empire State Building and all of that, and our eyes just got really big, and we're like, wow, this is what the world outside of North Beach looks like.
Isn't that cool? I know. And you have to admit, every area of the world has a different cuisine, a different flavor, culture. It's so beautiful. And to really experience that. So do a shout out for where you grew up. It's very important. I think we celebrate our roots and remember our history, especially as you get older each year. This is my birthday, so I'm looking back going, wow, I'm 58 years. And I'm thinking it's amazing. I wouldn't change one day in the state of New Jersey. Although I love Arizona, it's incredible. So why don't we hear from you? 833-288-3986.
Okay, get on board. Tell us about the area where you grew up today. Matt Kabinski waiting for your call. He's screening some right now, but there's room for you to get through right now at 833-288-3986.
This is Ron Meyer. We're talking about the role that faith plays in the lives of athletes and sports professionals on Blessed to Play, Sunday afternoon, 4:30 Eastern on EWTN Radio.
There's nothing like EWTN's National Catholic Register. Revealing, engaging, inspiring. The most comprehensive news of the day from a Catholic perspective, with the moral authority that comes from being faithful to the teachings of the Catholic Church. And in the words of our founder, Monsignor Matthew Smith, a paper that will always be loyal to the Church and has no selfish axe to grind. Because the truth, when the Register was founded in 1927, is still the truth today. The award-winning National Catholic Register helps readers engage the culture with confidence in the saving and sanctifying gospel of Jesus Christ. Get 6 free issues today by ordering online at ncregister.com/radio or call 800-421-3230 and mention code RADIO. That's 800-421-3230 and mention code RADIO. The National Catholic Register. Read faithfully.
Your favorite EWTN radio programs are all over social media: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud, and they're available right now, on demand, day or night. Remember, EWTN is everywhere.
You're listening to EWTN Radio.
Well, it's a Thursday, take 2 with Jerry and Debbie and you. On Debbie's birthday, she is, don't tell anybody, 58 years old today. And she is being overwhelmed with love, thanks to many in the Take 2 family and her husband Marty and so many others. So, again, a happy birthday to Debbie today. And we're going to get to your phone calls about the place where you grew up. We're talking about great places to grow up. We really are looking for, obviously, the kind of the bright, uplifting positives. But maybe there was something like, maybe you had a Bruce Springsteen experience, grew up in my hometown, where the jobs were moving away and, just wasn't a whole lot there to stick around for. We can talk about that as well at 833-288 3986. Real quickly, before we go to the phones, I want to tell you about a stained glass nativity boxed Christmas card set from EWTN RC, the religious catalog. It's a set of 15, so if you've got a lot of friends or family, you might need more than one box. But you know what? It is not too early to get those Christmas cards ready to mail. And the religious catalog has beautiful designs which remind all of us of the reason for the season, and that, of course, is Jesus Christ. One design is a stained glass nativity set. It features a glorious stained glass depiction of the birth of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and the message inside reads, "Let peace and joy be your gift this Christmas and throughout the new year. Glory to God in the highest, and on earth goodwill toward all." That's from Luke 2:14. So each box includes 15 cards and 16. I give you 16 envelopes in case you misaddress one or something. Just visit EWTNRC.com for other beautiful designs, and you get free standard shipping for online orders $75 or more in the continental United States. Just use code FREE when you check out.
I'm giggling because they did that for me, I think, to put an extra envelope in.
Yeah, right.
I'm always making a mistake addressing things, and I get so mad. I don't like to cross it out. Do you like to cross it out, or I just rip it up?
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, if I don't have any other envelopes handy, I'll doctor one up.
Oh, you will? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It just bugs me. Okay, so tell me where we're going first. I've got the prayer book out, too, because in case anybody wants to do some shout-outs and remember folks from their childhood.
Let's go to Gunilla, who is in Lubbock, Texas, and a first-time caller to the program today. Hi, Gunilla. Welcome.
Hi.
Thanks for calling. Tell us about the area where you grew up.
Well, I grew up in a little town in Sweden that was called Trelleborg, and it was a small town, but just about 5,000 people. But it was very, very quaint and kind of quiet. And I lived there for about 6-7 years, and then moved to another small town. And it was way back time when you didn't have to worry about being out late. I mean, we could pretty much stay out till the lights came on. It was nice. It was nice. I came here in 1975 to the States.
Okay. Have you been back, Gunilla, to where you grew up?
Oh yes. I go back. I go back every year.
Oh, good.
Fantastic. I go back every year, especially in the summer. I go back in July or August because it's so hot here, and I like to kind of get away from the heat for a little while. Because it's like when I was there now last summer, it was high 76.
Oh, boy.
So it's, yeah.
Is it still
and it makes it nice. Yeah.
Is it still the quaint little town that you remember, Gunilla, or has it changed?
No, it's pretty much the way I remember it. It really is. I mean, of course, it's gotten a little bigger, but it's still a small town, and it's still nice. And I like to go there. I go back there every year, so it makes it fun.
Gunilla, I need to ask you a question. How many languages do you speak? I'm just curious.
Oh, I just speak Swedish and English. I took some German and French in school, but I don't really speak it well. I can understand some, but that's it. I was not really too crazy about the other languages. English came a kind of more natural.
Oh, wow. And English is a hard language, too, so that's interesting. I'm just so impressed when folks grow up in Europe or overseas. They tend to be exposed more than we are in the States when, we're born and raised here. Do you notice that as well? Like you have a bigger view of things? I think you do, just from growing up in Sweden. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I think, and for one thing, I mean, you can go a couple of hours and you can be in a different country. I mean, you can be in a different country in a short period of time. I mean, like you can be in 3-4 countries as much as it takes from going to East Texas here. So that makes a big difference. I mean, there are different cultures and stuff like that. So yeah, it makes it quite different.
Beautiful. Wow. Gunilla, thank you so much for taking the time to call today. You have graced our program beautifully, and we hope you have a wonderful afternoon. You're a first-time caller, but you never will be again because you can only be a first-time caller one time. So we hope to hear from you again. 833-288-3986. You see how easy that is? We're just asking you about the great places where you grew up today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
So please call us, 833-288-3986. That's the number to dial. We're going to go to Diane. Diane is driving through Minnesota, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hey, Diane, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jerry and Debbie. Happy birthday, Debbie.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you.
I was very fortunate to have been born and raised overseas. I was born in Bangkok.
Ooh.
Oh,
And,
wow.
yeah. Everybody automatically says, from where I've been, they say, was your dad in the military? And I say, no. He was kind of working for the military. He used to work for Bank of America, and so he ended up providing banking facilities for the troops. But he, we were sent there, but not because he was in the military. So that's how I came to be born in Bangkok, because he was providing services for the troops in Saigon, when the Vietnam War was going on. So I happened to be born in Bangkok, and then a couple of years later, they transferred my dad to Ecuador. So I got to spend a couple of years in Guayaquil, which was very interesting. I learned to speak Spanish fluently, but I can't remember a single word of it today. I can understand a little bit, but I can't speak it the way I used to. And in 1970, we got transferred to Seoul, Korea. And so I went through my entire upbringing there. I started kindergarten there and did up all the way up to 7th grade in Seoul, Korea. So my entire childhood was spent there. And that culture has been it's a part of me, so it's imprinted on me. And, I just carry it with me to this day. So it's a really, really wonderful experience.
Yeah. Actually, I was going to ask you something along those lines, Diane. I'll let the birthday girl speak in a moment, but just how you were shaped, by being in the different countries, being American, but how those different cultures shaped you and how you look back, I'm sure, with great fondness on those times. You were sort of alluding to that. I was going to ask you about that.
Yes. Oh my gosh. When in school, we were taught the culture. We went through culture class. So we did Korean culture class. We studied Korean history, the language, the customs, everything. And it really has. It's really made me just appreciate other people's lives, other people's cultures, other countries. And that's something I have to say. When I got here for the first time in 1978, when I was about 12 years old, and I have to say that the people that I met here were quite standoffish. At my new school, they were not willing to accept me right off the bat. There was a bit of bullying that I endured, and it was all because I was so different, and it was because of these exposures to other cultures. And that's really a shame. You can see that sort of thing still going on today. People are just so resistant to accepting people, and it's really a sad thing. But I am just so thankful that that I have these experiences. And I have to tell you that going to a DoD school, Department of Defense school, all of the kids there, their parents were in the military, so kids were always coming and going because people would get orders. And so we learned to look out for each other. And anytime there was a new kid who came in, it was like, hey, welcome in. Let's go do this. Let me show you around. And you don't get that here.
We need more of that, Diane. We need to get to know one another and not be so afraid or hesitant because what we don't know. It tends to want to keep us away from other people or places or things. And I think that's very unfortunate. As you were speaking about Korea, I I got the privilege to work with several Korean religious sisters when I was in parish ministry work, and we had a blast. They are so much fun and giving and know how to live in the moment and are so full of gratitude and joy. It was I mean, it was infectious. You just kept wanting to be near them because they were so beautiful to be around. So I can, just from that experience, I can see how you appreciate various other cultures and parts of the world. But this is how my brain works, Diane. So bear with me on this one. You know, when you go to these parties and they play those icebreaker games, and they always want to do something fun, and they say, okay, who's the person in the room that has the most interesting story, or where they were born, or something you didn't know about them, or something very unique about them. You probably have used that a few times, that you were born in the capital of Thailand. I think that's pretty cool. Did you?
Yeah, that is kind of a neat thing. It is. It's just a stroke of luck to have been born in Thailand. I just love it. I would love to go back there one day.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I want to pray. I'm going to pray that for you, if it's God's will. I think that would be wonderful for you.
Do you remember maybe at least a year ago when you had a call-in topic on your show about things that happen in your community? Mm-hmm. And I had called in and I had discussed the incident that happened at the DMZ. I don't remember if you remember that conversation, but there was an axe incident. Remember that?
Yeah, actually. Oh, okay. That's what I thought. Okay, because I recognized your voice. Isn't that interesting? It is so amazing.
Me.
Wow. Oh, hey, Diane, you're awesome. Wow. That's so cool.
But that's just one of the things that you experience. When you live in a different country, there's the different tensions, the arguments that go on, the things that mean a lot to other people, that would probably just not get any interest over here. But yeah, that's just my experience, and I was happy to be there.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're happy that you shared it with us, Diane, and called back into the program. You're a regular listener, it sounds like, so we really appreciate that, and we wish you many blessings today. As she's mentioning Bangkok and Thailand, I mentioned this on the show, I think, before, Debbie. I wear a ring that spent about 50 years in Thailand, and that was my uncle's. He was a priest, and I wear his priest ring. It's just very simple, just a silver-colored ring with a little raised cross on the top, and very, very simple. But I can see it's got these little notches in it, but on the bottom part of the ring where he used his hands, it's smoothed over. Isn't that amazing?
Oh, wow, so it kind of buffed out?
Yeah, buffed out. You can just feel the years of, him serving. He served the refugees from Laos and Cambodia and the Hmong people, so...
Yeah. I was waiting for you to share that with Diane about your uncle.
Yeah. I hope you heard. I hope you were still tuned in, Diane. Yeah, I actually visited him one time in Chiang Mai, Thailand. It's about 8-9 hours from Bangkok. But yeah.
I put Diane in the prayer book. If it's God's will, I hope she gets to go back and visit where she was born. Mm-hmm. Yep. Very cool.
All right. We're talking about great places to grow up today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie here on EWTN Radio. BJ, hang on. We're going to get to you next. We have Carol in Ohio, Angel in Ohio, Annunciation Radio. We know we got a special announcement about them coming up, Debbie, in a minute. And Jennifer in California. And a couple of open phone lines today. We're making our way through another busy week of episodes here on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you. It is your program, so here's your number to call if you would like to share about the great, the not so great, the wonderful, the iffy area where you grew up, anything about it you would like to share. We all learn from each other on this program. And who knows, maybe you'll mention an area where you grew up and somebody's listening right now saying, hey, I grew up there too. 833-288-EWTN is the phone number to call. 833-288-32 888-3888-3986.
So my husband Marty was born in upstate New York, right outside of Syracuse, Camillus, New York, and I was born in West Caldwell, New Jersey. And you know, Jerry, when we used to travel around for all the pledge drives around the country. There were certain areas of the U.S. that when I would get there and land for the first time and start driving around with a rental car, I started feeling like, wow, could I live here? Does this feel familiar? And I will tell you that upstate New York and the whole state of Ohio, I felt like I was in New Jersey. It felt so comfortable, so warm, so welcoming. And it's very interesting. So maybe we can talk about that on the other side of the break, and when you go to places, brand new places, but they still feel like home.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. And as promised, like I said, we'll get to BJ and Carol and Angel and Jennifer. Our phone line is open. Tell us about where you grew up today on Take Two, 833-288-3986. Be right back.
This is a Pro-Life Minute with doctors Stephen and Gracie Christie.
Here's a pro-choice argument that always makes me cringe. A fetus or embryo is not alive, it's just a clump of cells, and nobody really knows when life begins. What's your answer to that?
Sure. Whether or not something is alive is not a matter of philosophy or religion or politics or personal introspection. What is alive or living is a purely scientific question that science has fully settled, and it's spelled out in nearly every embryology and biology textbook used in just about every medical school the world over. There's overwhelming scientific consensus that from the moment of conception, an embryo fulfills all 8 criteria of biological life.
That's right. Criteria like the capacity for growth and metabolism, being responsive to stimuli, reproductive capacity, and homeostasis. So why don't we stick to the most basic scientific facts in this debate? Life begins at conception.
Want to be notified when Take Two with Jerry and Debbie goes live on Facebook? Follow EWTN Radio's Facebook page and click the bell icon to be notified.
The supernatural is very real, and demonic activity appears to be on the rise. I'm Debbie Georgianni, and I invite you to join religious demonologist Adam Bly and I this weekend on The Spirit World. This weekend, we open the mailbag to your questions about angels and demons. Join us Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern for The Spirit World on EWTN Radio.
Hi, this is Dr. David Anders. Are you curious about the Catholic faith and need answers? Call to Communion is the show for you. Today at 2 p.m. Eastern. Now back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Great places to grow up. That's what we're talking about today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. There's still time for you to get in on this wonderful conversation where we're appreciating our childhood experiences, where we grew up around the world. Very exciting discussion we're having today on Take Two, and I think it's needed. It really is. We need to appreciate our roots. 833-288-3986. But let me just state up front, I'm a bit emotional today because I'm thinking back on my whole 58 years, and I'm very grateful for everyone I've met and every experience I've had, good, bad, ugly, in between, because, you know, we're sitting here today and having this great discussion. So I'm very grateful to God. So thanks, you guys. Jerry, we talked about the great state of Ohio. Well, our friends at Annunciation Radio need to hear from you next week. They're airing their annual Fall Share-a-thon next Tuesday through Friday. So if you're listening on any of their 5 stations across northern Ohio, please support your EWTN Catholic radio station. I will be hosting Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with Dave Asherez and the team, and I'm super excited about that.
Beautiful. Okay, without any further delay, let's go to BJ driving through Oklahoma, listening on EWTN.com. Hello, BJ. Thanks for holding.
Hi, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I tried calling yesterday, and I wasn't able to get through. You guys were talking about miracles.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma. When I was born 2 months premature, and when I was born, my father enlisted in the Air Force, and I was in an incubator for 31 days. He ended up moving to England to, I think he was there for probably 6 months before me and my mother moved there with him. We lived there for a little bit, and then we moved to New Mexico, where my sister was born. And then shortly after that, we moved to Alaska, stayed there for probably 4 years, and then we moved to Florida, where we stayed there for about 15 years. And then my father got out of the Air Force and moved back to Oklahoma. And then me and my mother basically followed him after he moved back to Oklahoma. And that's where I live at now. But my favorite place that we lived at was probably Alaska. It was such a beautiful place to live. All the nature and the mountains and the snow. You know, it was just such a wonderful place to live. I didn't want to move. It was a definite climate shock when we moved from Alaska to Florida. Because Florida, there's only 2 seasons: hot and really hot, and humid.
Hot or not so hot, yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, this is you, BJ. You have an amazing pedigree, if I can put it that way.
Yeah.
You know, you've lived in a lot of different places, and I like the way you know, out of all those places, you said Alaska would probably your favorite. And I've been on an Alaskan cruise up there, so I didn't really see a lot of the state, you know, on foot or in car, but you can see the beauty just on a cruise, and of course all you have to do is go online and look at it, and you hear all about it. So yeah, I think you're a very blessed man, BJ, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I would agree, right. BJ, as you were speaking and you were saying that Alaska was your favorite place because of the beauty and nature all around you all the time in Alaska. I couldn't agree more. I'm not on video today, but I was shaking my head up and down going, BJ's right. BJ's right. When we took a pretty long tour of Alaska, my husband and I, in 2015, I believe it was, with our friends Laura and Glenn, and I just kept marveling at the trees and the air and the sky and it felt so alive. It just felt like there was oxygen flowing all around all the time. It just felt you could feel it, that God had a special design for the great state of Alaska. And I agree with you. I think it's an incredible place. And I live in Arizona, so I know what you're talking about. You were talking about Oklahoma and then Florida. And, you know, there's beauty everywhere you go, and you can find that. But there's something breathtaking about Alaska. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, BJ, I'm glad you got through today. You mentioned trying to get through yesterday. We had a really busy day on the phones yesterday. It's usually the case here on the program. So we both apologize to those who try to get through and can't, but we also say thank you to those who keep trying and are persistent and do get through. And in fact, if that describes you, there's that line open now that BJ was on. We're talking about great places we've grown up, 833-288-3986. And we will go to Carol, who is in Port Clinton, Ohio, listening on Annunciation Radio, who is having their pledge drive next week. Hi, Carol. Thanks for your patience.
Hi, Jerry and Debbie. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
Yeah, happy birthday, Debbie.
Thank you, Carol.
Normally I would be there to answer phones, but I have been so busy because of this last voting issue for Ohio. I had to put my heart and soul into it, so I can't add one more thing to my plate right now.
Well, thank you for all you do. You're amazing.
You're right. Right now I'm sitting in front of the Toledo's abortion center waiting for it to open so I can pray for the next 2 hours with most amazing people that come just to pray. We just pray, you know. So anyway, talking about Port Clinton, Ohio, I was born and raised there, and when I was growing up, there was about 8,800 of us there, 8,800. And I smiled because the first time I went to an Ohio State football game, they said that 88,000 people were in the stands, and I thought, oh my gosh, you could fit Port Clinton in here 11 times. You know, we were just so small. But Jerry, like you, my little town industry has moved out. Things have closed. But the 5,000 of us that are still there, I knew I was never going to leave. First of all, we're right on Lake Erie. It's an absolutely amazing view. The people really can be as warm or kind as long as you treat them kindly, too. And I'm not talking, for the most part, most of the people that have moved in, you know, they're not townies like I am a townie. And I love all the people that move in. I felt bad for Diane. Man, I would have loved to have had her as a neighbor, hearing about Taiwan and all of her experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up on a dead-end street, 10 houses, and my dad's sister lived next door. My mom's brother lived on the other side of my aunt. So 10 houses, you're related to just about everybody. And now I live on a street that I made sure was as welcoming as what I grew up with. So I made sure I get to know my neighbors. I know my neighbors. We trick or treat. I give them hot cocoa on trick or treating night, and we just have a good time in our neighborhood. And it's not a dead end street. This one, it's a thoroughfare kind. But I think, and I've been mountain climbing out in Colorado. I've been down to Florida. My brother lived there. I think there isn't a bad place to ever live. I think it's what you make it. Mm-hmm. I really do. We hosted 2 exchange students from Berlin, Germany. They were a brother and a sister at different times. Germany's got a lot to offer, too, but I kept thinking, I just love a little town. And where I live in Port Clinton, it's in Ottawa County, there are only villages. Port Clinton is the only city. That's how much farming land we have around us. And I just think it's beautiful. I can look out for miles, all the way over to Canada, over to Michigan. I think it's idyllic to live in. We don't have drive-by shootings. We don't generally have too many murders. You know, on occasion it happens.
Yeah. It's a family town. Carol, I agree with you. I don't know if you were talking to Matt Kabinski, if you were calling in, or you could hear me talk about when Jerry and I used to physically go out to the affiliates, the stations around the country to help with pledge drives. One of the places that I loved going, and when I used to love seeing it on my schedule, was Ohio. And I just loved it because I would land in Toledo or Cleveland or one of the other areas, and everybody was warm and genuine and welcoming and just really, really kind. And I saw that right away. You could feel it right away. So I could understand why you would. I mean, you're a beautiful person. You're a beautiful soul. And, you know, so I think it's so obvious that certain areas, certain pockets of the world, they do tend to shine like that. And I think you're in one of those areas, and you're blessed. I really do. I can say that honestly because I have traveled around a lot, and I'm not saying that other places aren't great and they have their own distinct, qualities that shine. But there's certain areas you go to and you just feel like, wow, I've been here before, or I feel like I've been here, or I feel so accepted and welcomed right away. And that's a unique, I think, quality. What do you say to that, Carol?
Oh, absolutely right. Absolutely. But I do know that when I meet somebody new for the first time, I'll give you an example. This last weekend, we had crosses on our board in the back of the church for all the people that died that last year. And we gave family members back their crosses. They were invited to come back. And we had a little reception in our gym. And there was a couple with their children from Avon, Ohio, which is about an hour away from Port Clinton. They were just up for the weekend. They might have been, getting their boat put away or their condo or whatever. And she said, that was such a beautiful experience. And I don't know what their ethnicity is. And I just said, where are you from? And she said, Avon. I go, well, welcome to Port Clinton, Ohio. And she says, we just love it up here. And that's because we're pretty quiet for the most part. The summertime, we swell to like 25 to 30,000 people with all the people who have condos and boats and everything every weekend. Are there a lot of accidents then? Yes. But unfortunately, it's because sometimes the big city people will bring their frustrations and angers and say, get out of the way. And I'm thinking, slow down, just enjoy where you are, just be at peace. And that's what I talk to people about when I see them, because I used to rent condos out. I've done all kinds of different little jobs. I think to have a position in Port Clinton, Ohio, you might have to work hard at your job. Sometimes it's hard because there isn't the industry there. But everybody who lives there is pretty much at peace while they're there. The one other thing I wanted to say is we're kind of a little bedroom community. Literally, it takes me 45 minutes to an hour to get to Toledo or 45 minutes to an hour to get to Cleveland. That's a piece of cake. And there is so much that we can do in either one of those big cities. And the blessing is we just drive home and we're in our little quiet bedroom village again,
Best of all worlds, Carol.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow, it just sounds sentimental and romantic to me, just to have a pristine place like that. A lot of people come there, like you said, to do certain things in the summers and all of that. But you're very blessed, Carol, it sounds like. So we appreciate you calling in, and hopefully you'll get a chance. Thank you, by the way, for your work, on that ballot measure, that issue in Ohio there. Sadly, the way it turned out, but hopefully you'll get back over to Annunciation Radio and be able to help them out again, because Debbie loves the people at Annunciation Radio, and so do we. We all do, actually.
Absolutely. When Carol was talking, it sounds like a little slice of heaven. I just love that. Angel is up next. Also on Annunciation Radio. That's the way Angel is listening in Toledo, Ohio. Hi, Angel. Welcome.
Hey, happy birthday, Jersey girl.
Thank you.
You're one of the most beautiful people on the radio. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Angel, don't make me cry again, okay? I was holding it back the whole show.
I love you. Well, I was born in Toledo in an early Victorian house, and my mother lived there for 97 years or thereabouts, recently died. And my father was British, my mother Italian, so we used to switch back and forth. Monday we'd be Irish, and Tuesday we'd be Italian. And it got to be so crazy wonderful, And, we were spread between the city and country with farms, and, there would be cows and barn dances and, let's go plant the onions kind of thing. And then we'd come back in town and have a big Italian party. So it was just crazy because we had both ethnics. And Toledo is very broadly ethnic with Arab and Polish and German. And so you really got an incredible variety, which made me want to travel. And I traveled all over the world. I still continue to. But I love Toledo. It's my landing place, in Perrysburg especially. But I want to thank you guys for all your prayers this year, because about 4 weeks ago, I got into a devastating accident in my truck and totaled it. I hit a steel pole at 35, and I have 26 fractures, including around my neck, which I was walking around with, bones not supporting my neck, and 8 breaks in my arm. And the Lord has been so good to me. I mean, I'm doing so well, considering that 4 weeks ago I could have been, that could have been it. And my birthday's coming too on Saturday.
Oh, wow.
So I'm a November girl.
11/11 is your birthday.
11, yes, you remembered. I love you. Yeah. It's a great thing. It's a great thing to be a November girl, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, totally. Well, 11/11 is pretty cool. I've always, my friend growing up in New Jersey, she was November 11th too, and I was like, you have a better birthday than I do. I remember that growing up. But that is awesome, Angel. Happy early birthday. Incredible. And we're so glad I put you back in the book to make sure you have full healing from that that accident and everything. And we pray that everything's okay and you stay strong, okay?
Thank you. I still have some burns going on from stuff, but that's okay. Other than that, I'm up walking around doing my own thing. But, my best friends are from Jersey, and a lot of the people that I've worked with around the world are from Jersey. And some of the most wonderful people with the best senses of humor you have ever seen. And I just adore people from Jersey.
Yeah. We're pretty quick-witted, Angel. We don't have any filter.
Yeah. Well, my boss was from Jersey. I was in public relations for 6 years, and I traveled the world for him, and he was an Italian, and he was a piece of cake. I'll tell you, he was a pushover. I mean, Italians are so wonderful to work for. They really are.
As long as you don't get them angry, right?
Oh, my God, me being myself. Yeah, I understand. My dad was one of these soft-spoken British, and my mother was Italian, full-blood, from families from Rome and from Calabria.
Wow.
And, my dad said he only won one argument in 1955 when she had laryngitis.
Okay, that's hilarious. Oh, I love it.
Awesome. Great call,
Yes,
Angel.
Yes. Stay strong.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
We'll keep praying for you, especially with those burns that are still clearing up.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, wow. Too cool. Okay, so before we get back to the phones, Jerry, let me just share with our listeners Scripture and Tradition with Father Mitch Pacwa. Saturday morning, 6 Eastern, and Sunday afternoon, 1 Eastern time on EWTN Radio. Father Mitch digs into the sacred scriptures and the tradition of the Catholic Church in this interactive Bible study program. I think Father Mitch does a phenomenal job. I'm just saying, he's amazing. I learn something every single time I listen to him.
Well, we always love first-time callers, and we have another one, Jennifer. Been listening for a while, I hope and pray, but a first-time caller in Oakhurst, California. Hi, Jennifer.
Hello, how are you?
Doing well. How's your day going?
It's wonderful. I get to listen to you guys when I'm home in the mornings, which isn't very often, but I just love your program, and I love the both of you. And happy birthday, girlie.
Oh, thank you so much, Jennifer. That means so much to me, and I love your great state of California. I think California is beautiful. So you are awesome, and thank you for calling in, and tell us about an area of the world.
Well, I was born, hopefully most people have heard of this place, but I'm astounded when I hear that people haven't. I was born in Yosemite National Park, which I live just outside of still. And, boy, I can tell you, it was, I was just commenting the other day to somebody how Yosemite truly is like a utopia to live in. If you think about it, because the people who live there have to work there. And so to work there, you have to live there pretty much, or in the close area nearby. We do have quite a few people now who commute. But we don't really have crime very much, besides the bears breaking into cars or something, and that's rare anymore. And, you know, we don't have homelessness. We don't have people who are hungry. So when, needless to say, for my experience anyway, when I moved away from home, I was 18, and I moved to another little town in the mountains, Twain Harte, and then to Sonora, which is a little Lodi, like a mother lode town kind of. And then I moved to Fresno, which to me was the big city. And Fresno is about an hour and a half out of Yosemite Valley. And, you know, of course, the cities all have crime and homelessness and, you know, people hungry. And it was just a slap in my face. It was such a shocker to me. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, when people go to Yosemite and they just wow at all the beauty and they awe at what God has done, I can't help but think about how blessed I was to actually be born and raised there and spend my life there. I was very, very lucky. And it's just it's still a wonderful place to visit, a wonderful place to live. And I don't have anything bad to say about it. I had a wonderful upbringing. You know, it was a different time, of course, but Yosemite is still a different place to live in. And I would run around from the time I was 5 years old. I was on the shuttle buses announcing the stops with the bus drivers by myself, you know. So, you know, it was just a different place and a different time too, but it was just a wonderful place to grow up.
Wow. You should work for the Chamber of Commerce, Jennifer. That was absolutely amazing, and you just got me wishing I had been there, because I'm kind of shamefaced to say I've been pretty much every square inch of California, but I've never been there. I've been, you know, nearby cities, Sacramento many times, the Bay Area. I've lived in Reno twice, which isn't that far away, but the way you described it there, I've relocated to Florida now, but you might have me tempted to make a trip out there and visit Yosemite sometime. It just sounds absolutely stunning the way you described it.
It'd be worth the pilgrimage, let me tell you. You will not be sorry. And, you know, most people come during the summer and the spring, but truly my favorite season to be there is winter. I can remember going outside my house and walking down, they call it Yosemite Village, and, you know, from the visitor center, you have the visitor center, the post office, Ansel Adams Gallery, you've got the village store, you know, everything in the village there. And I can remember walking and hearing the crunch of the snow beneath my feet and the snow was falling so quietly, and everything was silent, and it was just magical. It's just magical.
Heaven,
And
yeah.
it is so hard nowadays to find, experiences like that. People really have to trek places. And, I know I've met people from all over the world, and they come there and they say, I live in a beautiful place where they live, wherever it is. And they're like, I just am astounded, and this is the most beautiful place I've ever seen. And it makes me want to cry because someone's having an experience, and it's absolutely wonderful to see.
Yeah. Well, you appreciate God's creation, Jennifer, and that just goes to show your love, your heart, your soul, your joy, your gratitude to God, and that speaks a lot. So you're a beautiful soul. We're so glad you called in, first time call. You got to stay in touch with us when you're home and you can hear us. Okay.
I will, and I just love listening to the two of you. You have such great voices. I feel like I know you, and I love, you're always uplifting. It makes me so happy to listen to you guys. I really love you.
Oh, we love you too.
We feel like we know you too, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, you may get us as a visit, to California, and then we come for dinner and we never leave, right, Jerry?
He's not gone.
We're not gone. Okay, we got to squeeze Bill in from Morris County, New Jersey. I know it very well on Sirius XM 130. Used to play golf in your area, Bill. Take it away.
Bill.
Hey, Deb. Hey, Deb and Jerry. So first time, and although I'm a friend of yours on Facebook, I just shouted out to you the night saying, I know you from Jersey. You got that Jersey girl look. I grew up in Bergen County, but I know West Caldwell very well. My brother lives in North Caldwell. And I'm going to talk about avenues or boulevards or what you know in Jersey, Deb, because you grew up in that situation. In Bergenfield, we had an avenue, and you had stores. And you basically, as a kid, I mean, I'm 61 now, but when I grew up in Bergen County in New Jersey, you got on your bike and you were gone all day. Mm-hmm. And you went to the avenue, and there were stores, and there was a movie theater, and there was a pizza place, and there was the athletic store, and it was all small shops and Woolworths, and it was amazing. So it's still there. It's kind of changed that town a bit. West Caldwell, you have the boulevard on Bloomfield Avenue. It's still basically there, but it's that kind of stuff is fading, and it's sad to see because we're beginning to see, corporations and big boxes coming in and strip malls. But it's a great memory, and that's what we did. I mean, you didn't check in with mom and dad. You were gone. I'm one of 5 kids, and that was it. And it was the best life.
Oh, Bill. Bill, you captured it perfectly. And I have to tell you, I so agree. And it was a beautiful time and a place to grow up. And we, I think we did appreciate it because it felt safe and it was fun. And of course, that great pizza, New Jersey pizza. Bill, way to go. Thank you so much for sharing and gracing this conversation today. Oh, Jerry, it makes me want to get on a plane and go back to New Jersey.
Well, fantastic job, Take Two family, as always. We really, really do love you guys, and we feel like we know you. You're part of the family. And we certainly want to thank our show team today, Matt, Ace, and Jeff. Thank you guys so much for the great job you always do. Thank you, affiliates, for carrying the program. Tomorrow I will be away, but Debbie will be with you, and we're going to talk about friendly gestures tomorrow, Debbie.
Oh, that's going to be a great conversation. And we didn't get to Francis and Paul and the others that are calling right now. But please, you can always call me tomorrow. I need your company tomorrow. And until then, have a beautiful and blessed day. We always ask St. Joseph, please pray for us. Stand Tall is now offering advanced group coaching sessions with master coaches highly trained in life skills. Visit standtalltoday.com and register for one of our upcoming group coaching events. These virtual opportunities are designed to take you to the next level of life in your relationships, career, faith walk, and so much more. Space is limited, so hurry to standtalltoday.com. That's standtalltoday.com.
EWTN.
The only program in all of Catholic media that can take days off your purgatory. The Doctor is In is next on EWTN Radio.
Pray of thotn.com/